Hey, and welcome back to the Land of Faith, here in the Talos Principle. Apparently we are at like 92% of all the sigils, like the regular ones, not stars. So I am really curious what the last few have in store for us. Also, like, recently I did count like the stars that I'm still missing, and I apparently completely miscounted because I was like thinking about like other ones that I had missed. Like there's even one in the in-between area, so I can't believe that I was so off on my estimate. Anyway, nice garden, nice, sunlight. This is basically how much sunlight I'm getting. It's kinda, deepest winter here. Okay, technically it's not deepest winter. It's the beginning of winter. And look at that, lovely little dragons. Okay, I mean, dragons are definitely an aesthetic that we've not seen yet, but it kind of makes sense for like the medieval European style. Even though, now that I think about it, how often do you see dragons? Like, they are definitely associated, right? Like that style of dragon, right? Like four legs and like the wings on the back and stuff. While they are kind of associated with that and like fantasy in that area, I don't think I've seen like a dragon statue in person from that era. But it might just be like where I live. I don't know. Also, there's like an audiobook. As always, I'm gonna listen to the audiobook and shut up while I'm kind of, running around and exploring, I guess, the pools and stuff. Sure, let's do that. What do we get? We get a mirror. Alright, sure, why not? Let's see our reflection.
This is all ego, isn't it? Recording these random thoughts, these letters to the future. Just a desperate grab for immortality. But you should know, yes, this was my idea, my project, but so many people helped. People I don't even know. People I haven't even met who can do things I don't even begin to understand. That if we succeeded, if someone's listening to this, I really can't take credit for it. What we achieved together. And if we fail, well, it doesn't matter.
Fair enough. Okay, this definitely goes back, first of all, purple. I do love my purple pieces. And it's number 10. I feel like you only need 10, right? So this is the last one. I'm assuming, because there are like only 3 of those areas, to my understanding. Which is interesting. Unless there are like more in case you need more, which I could see happening just because of how they are supposedly to help you with like some puzzles. Which, I've never used, so I can't really talk about that. But yeah, talking about the ego thing. I think there are actually 2 reasons for why you should make those recordings. And one of them might just be ego, right? Like talking to like the future, basically, trying to report on like what you did. That's fair enough. You could argue that it's ego, but it could also just be, I guess, helping the future generations, if there are some. Right? You could argue that you don't need like audio recording. You could also just do it in text where, I guess, your personality doesn't stay as intact. Like, it's still, right, like your writing style is not, I guess, the same as everyone else's, right? Like, there's some uniqueness in your writing style. So I'm not saying that all your personality just disappears. But, like, an audio recording generally is more of the, like, your personality that's left. So that you could argue that this is also for ego. But there's, like, another thing that I think is, like, more important. And that is sometimes voicing your ideas. Makes it a lot easier to deal with them, or like process them. There's like a technique like when, especially in coding, where basically you get like a rubber ducky and talk to it. But like, I guess the recording is similar to that. And that's also something I think is really silly, and this is like coming from me as somebody who like records Let's Plays and streams. It is weirdly awkward to me to just talk to myself. But that just disappears the moment I hit the record. And I don't know why that is, right? Like, if I have the intent of uploading something, I don't mind talking to myself, basically. And it makes it so much easier to kind of voice my ideas that I have. And I guess process the things. Don't get me wrong, like, especially while I'm doing puzzles, I don't do a great job at it. And you could probably argue that I don't do that at any other time either, but... that doesn't change the fact that I always think this makes it a lot easier to, help with the thought process, especially with like those steps. Anyway, there are like some... Okay, this is literally just like a wall in the rock, but then again it ends here. I thought for some reason this was like a texture that wasn't quite complete. Anyway, it doesn't actually matter here. We have some reading to do, as always. We start with that. I just wanted to see, like, there doesn't seem to be, like, I can actually jump on those. At least this one. I don't know what's different about you. But I guess I can just jump here. I don't think I can make that jump. Yeah, no. Okay, that seems a little bit too tight. But we should probably start reading then. As always, we have like some reading to do. I'm assuming that the serpent has some funny texts. Let's get talking. And you don't talk to me. That's fair enough. Faith, a thank you letter, and the human soul. Have we actually had a text about the human soul in particular until now? Because I feel like this comes really late, I guess. Maybe. I mean, we kind of had about like ideas of the soul with the afterlife. Where, like for example with the Duat, right? Like we kind of had that, but then again, they had like a different system where you had like the 5 elements that compose a human and stuff. But yeah, it's interesting that we are seeing that now. Anyway, let's start with Faith. By Neil in Macoma to someone, A, and then it's probably not S. Subject: stray thoughts at midnight. Dearest brother, I admit that I am finding it very difficult to believe in a loving God under these circumstances. Why would a loving God inflict such pain and suffering on good, kind people? If truly there is a personal God, how can he be the same God who will subject those children to such unbearable pain? I remember all the answers we were taught, yet none of them seem believable now. Alright, so this is probably around that. Okay. The reason why I'm interrupting here is until now we didn't really know what would happen. I don't know if it's like actual physical pain or if it's like more the pain of loss that the children are going to experience like over the months that this whole process is taking. Because we still don't really know what the, we'll call it like the sickness is doing. But we will probably figure that one out soon, I hope. I don't want to stand in front of people and preach something that I don't feel in my heart. Better to have doubts than to be a hypocrite. And yet I also cannot deny the experience that led me to this vocation. So, what is the truth? Perhaps it is that I neglected the mystery of God, used "He moves in mysterious ways" as an excuse rather than the terrifying acknowledgement it truly is. Perhaps I made God too human. If the universe has a purpose, that does not mean that it revolves around us. A sobering thought, but are we not supposed to be humble in the face of the divine with love? Someone. Probably Neil. Yeah. Have we talked about like the idea that, you know, when you have like a god who created you in his image, and then like the idea of... Okay, there are actually multiple ideas that I have to talk about. First of all, the idea that you can go into heaven if you are a good person, but God made you in a way where you can decide to do evil, and makes it hard to do good, for example, which is interesting because like God could have just created you as a being that can only commit good, right? Like, and to get into heaven, things like that. And I'm using more Christian mythology here, I guess, or theological ideas here, just to keep it simple. There are probably other ways of really doing that. But that's like one of the things. And also, how can there be like pain and suffering if you have like a personal God that's the ultimate good? Why would you keep the evil in the world? And it doesn't just have to be like evil people, but also like, I guess, a catastrophe of sorts, natural disasters, right? Like, why would a God that is loving all his children just flood an entire country, basically, right? Kill everyone there, and like create sickness and stuff. This is always a mysterious question. I think it is a good segue to talk about like the whole God moves in mysterious ways, which is often used as an excuse, kind of. And I do believe that it's kind of seen as an excuse in a lot of the cases, right? Like, I know I'm talking about like some extreme people who have like this extreme belief. And I'm not saying that like everyone who's like a Christian believes that, but you hear like these horror stories where like, I don't know, a kid gets cancer or something like that, and then someone just says like, oh hey, it's all part of God's plan to give your kid cancer and have it suffer for the rest of their life. Stuff like that, right? Like, and there's always something that I guess put a very bad taste into my mouth whenever I heard about that. So definitely was, to me, always off-putting, right? Like, I know there's like some extreme examples, but still, but you kind of have to acknowledge that if there is a god with like a plan, that everything has to be part of that plan. And I do think it's interesting to see it as a terrifying acknowledgement, because what if there is a god, right, like, who has like a plan and everything, and it's more like a Lovecraftian god, right? Like some god that thinks like humanity is completely beneath it, and we are just ants in its creation, basically, doesn't really care about us. That could also be true, right? Like, who knows? Like, maybe, I don't know, maybe God made dolphins to be the sentient species in the future. I don't know, it was like a stupid example, but like, we wouldn't really have a way of knowing that, right? Like, we could also just be like a step, or like stepping stone, to be more precise, in like the evolution of something even greater, right? Stuff like that, like assuming that there is a plan. Or, you know, you could also just acknowledge that I guess there is no plan, right? Like, those are like the two ways it can be, right? Like, this is, funnily enough, like one of those binaries that can exist, right? Like, either there's a plan or there isn't. Like, there cannot be a middle ground between those two states. So yeah, definitely something to think about. Anyway, thank you, email by Sun Wei Yang to Alexandra Drennan. Okay, thank you. Dear Alexandra, as we approach the end, I want to let you know how much I appreciated this chance to finish my work on Soma/Talos. My faith makes death a far less frightening prospect than it is for others. I know we have all died many times before, but the thought of leaving the work unfinished did weigh on me. For having released me from that burden, I will forever be thankful to you, even if our attempt itself fails. Though there are trillions of worlds beyond this one, I hope we meet again in another life. With love, Eski. Definitely a different approach to seeing it, right? Like, a lot of the time, especially because we are like now in the more, you know, European medieval area, that I'm thinking more of like the Christian theology. But yeah, like, the idea of reincarnation still exists, which I always think is rather fascinating, because it also kind of implies that this reincarnation cycle is going to continue on forever. And I don't know, I guess you're reaching the height of the universe again, right? I don't know, I feel like that would also be a scary thought in itself. But there are obviously different ways to interpret like reincarnation, sometimes even like chronologically not in the right order way. Like, imagine there's just like one soul that gets reincarnated as everything over time, right? Like, currently I have that soul, but like in my next life somebody else at this precise time is going to have that soul, and I'm going to interact with myself in a way, even though I don't know about it. There's also, you know, there's the example about like trillions of worlds beyond this one. I'm not sure about that, right? Like, I don't know which faith they believe in, but I guess that would be interesting in a way. I mean, is that like I thought about like trillions of worlds, like in if you believe in more like parallel universes in a way, or like you know, dimensions or whatever. Like, sometimes when I hear like different worlds, I think more of like the fantasy setting where you have like different planes of existence. But I don't think that would make like a difference to, like, imagine you just said, hey, you were born on a different planet. It would be kind of the same, right? Like, the vastness of the universe with like how it's basically infinite. It's not really, but like basically, right? Or it feels like that at least. I don't think it would make a difference whether you are like in a different dimension or on a different planet. You would probably have like the exact same chance of meeting again. But yeah, definitely interesting. But I do get it. I feel like if the end were before me, I would love to finish the stuff that I was working on, because I like having some sort of finality to the things I've had in the past, basically, right? I'm not just talking about like death, right? But like, imagine you only have like a week, and then like in a week you have to do something else. whatever that may be, you probably want to finish your plans that you had for that week. And let's make some more concrete example. Let's pretend you did something during a vacation. You went on holiday somewhere, flew out to a different country, and you had like some places you wanted to see, and this is like your only chance maybe in life to see those. You probably want to finish that list, right? Like, because otherwise, I guess it's going to be like this lingering regret for all eternity in a way. Especially if you believe that you are reincarnated at some point. Because like if you are dead anyway, right, like you probably wouldn't care. But if you have like some eternal soul or like a way to reincarnate, you probably are going to keep that regret, right? And you will not be able to change that. So I guess make the best out of your time. If you still have it. Anyway, the human soul. Text file archive in 1872 CE, file 553 by Samuel Butler. If all machines were to be annihilated at one moment, so that not a knife, nor lever, nor a rag of clothing, nor anything whatsoever were left to man but his bare body alone that he was born with, and if all knowledge of mechanical laws were taken from him so that he could make no more machines, and all machine-made food destroyed so that the race of human, or like the race of man, should be left as it were naked upon a desert island, we should become extinct in 6 weeks. A few miserable individuals might linger, but even these in a year or two would become worse than monkeys. Man's very soul is due to the machines. It is a machine-made thing. He thinks as he thinks, and he feels as he feels, though the work that machines have wrought upon him, and their existence is quite as much a sine qua non? Sine qua non? I don't know. For this, as for theirs. Okay, I think this is interesting, but it also comes kind of with the time frame. Like when I think of machine, I'm thinking about like very metallic stuff, right? Like a motor, for example, or something that's incorporating that of sorts. But we're also like in 1872. And this is post beginning of the Industrial Revolution? Question mark? Oh wait, obviously it started like 100 years earlier. I for some reason got the years wrong there. But yeah. Anyway, the thing that I wanted to talk about is like, yeah, we are kind of so entwined with like everything we have invented. I don't think... Well, no. I do actually think that there is a point to this, right? Like, if we don't just take like motors and stuff, like anything motoric, but actually things that has been made with tools. I feel like if we set tools in addition to machines, then I would definitely agree, and it sounds like that's what they're actually talking about. Because we... Like the one strength that humans have, okay, they have like a few strengths. Like for example, we are walking upright. This is like really powerful, I guess, a trait, because it allows us to like see dangers from farther away. Also, it lets us kind of take up like less space, which allows us like, for example, to climb and stuff, right? Like if we had like 4 legs, it would be... like it's still possible, right? Like we have like tigers and stuff that can climb, but they don't have the advantage of at the same time also, you know, walking upright, right? Like there's like too much mass, I guess, on the horizontal line than the vertical. I don't know. What I basically wanted to get at is this is like one of the strengths. We also have like the strength of being really great at walking, right? Like we don't really tire at that, and it's like something. I guess that just stayed with us when it came to evolution. By the way, it's also one of the reasons, I'm assuming at least, why going on a walk is just like a great pastime. And especially like, culturally, still, depending on where you live. Like in Germany, it's like quite a, I guess, tradition to just walk around as, you know, something to do. It's a bit of exercise, and like humans are generally quite great at that. But there's also the thing that we have learned how to use tools, because we don't really have a lot left. Right, like we don't have like massive claws, right? We have like fingernails a little bit, but they are not really sharp enough to be, I guess, a murder weapon. We have sharp teeth, but they are by far not sharp enough compared to like a tiger, for example, right? Like we are quite mediocre, I'm gonna call it, at most things actually. The thing that allowed man to survive was basically the ability to use tools. like figuring out how to make fire even, right? Like that is such a massive thing, which allowed us to go into like colder regions, especially like same with like clothes, right? Like we are the only species that wears clothes, at least like to warm themselves up. I'm assuming. I don't actually know if there might be something else, but I would be surprised, right? Like stuff like that allowed us to vastly expand outside of the area that humans lived in originally, right? Like somewhere in Africa where it was like a lot warmer. And also allowed us to like get better materials and basically defend ourselves, because again we are kind of weak, right? Like many animals could defeat us like in a fight if we didn't have like the chance to prepare, make weapons, make tools. So we would probably die. I don't know, if 6 weeks. I feel like if humanity lost all knowledge about like tools, we would still be able to pick berries, right? I don't think it would take like 6 weeks, but I would definitely believe that our millions and billions of people that we currently have in the world would drastically shrink, and I do believe that humanity would only survive like in its origin, right? Like again, Africa, and maybe in some parts of America, like Central America. Just because of like the temperature, right? Like we would need some area that's like warm year round at least. But yeah, I guess that's something. Never really thought about that, but it does make sense, yeah. Few miserable individuals might linger. Okay, yeah, there are definitely some that linger for longer. I do think that our thought process is absolutely intertwined with like the tools, and like if we see a problem, we don't just see like how I guess to deal with it, but we also think about like the tools we use to deal with them. And that definitely has helped us. I'm not saying that it's always the case, but like I guess culturally especially, that's a big thing. Like just the lever is like so powerful if you think about it, like allowing a singular person to basically exert so much more force than would normally be possible just to like lift something, for example. Same with like the I don't know what the English term is, but like when you are using multiple wheels basically to combine with ropes to do basically the same, right? Like have like a similar to a lever functionality, which is really fascinating. Definitely rooted still in physics, which is really fascinating. I mean, there are like some animals that understand physics, right? Was it like ravens, for example, or crows? Or like certain birds at least that understand like how, for example, they can put rocks into cups that are filled with water to push up the water. Stuff like that, and they have like that understanding. Seemingly, even though it's like something that probably doesn't come up that often in nature, which is really fascinating that is, I guess, so ingrained into them. But yeah, to us, other tools are probably ingrained. Like I feel nowadays, most people would probably see a problem and instantly pick up their phone and try to Google something, right? I feel like that is a massive thing that we have as an advantage, right? We have like basically the entire knowledge of humanity at our fingertips, which is really fascinating to think about it, right? Like this is like such a small square. It's not even a square, it's a rectangle. But I feel like you get the point. Anyway, I guess I'm gonna leave it at that. Interesting text, but we will see how much more interesting or less interesting the puzzles are going to be in the next episode. In any case, I hope you enjoyed this one, and I wish you a wonderful rest of the day. I'll be seeing you next time. Till then, have a good one, and bye-bye.